Well, welcome back to the Waterkloof Air Force Base here. Finally, the remains of two struggle icons, Moses Kotane as well as J.B. Marks. A touchdown here on African soil at the Waterkloof Air Force Base shortly after 6 o'clock this morning. The families of both J.B. Marks and Moses Kotane are here saying it's a day of celebration, it's a day of closure, it's a day when many South Africans perhaps will be able to heal the wounds of the past, all standing for what Moses Kotane and what J.B. Marks stood for. There are so many veterans of the Tripartite Alliance that are in attendance here at the ceremony, which is expected to get underway at about 12 o'clock. We're expecting President Jacob Zuma, of course, to arrive at 11:30, and a celebration certainly taking place here. But I'm going to chat now to one of the struggle icons who certainly does not need any introduction, Mama Madikizela Mandela. Mama Winnie, thank you so much for your time this morning. Certainly a day to remember on the South African calendar, the repatriation of the remains of two struggle icons have finally returned home.
Yes, that is true. I had the honor and privilege to know them personally. I used to cook meals for them when they had their midnight meetings at home. And they were the greatest heroes of the struggle at the time. Men who gave up their lives for no gain at all. The real struggle heroes of the time. And we all started there, actually, as we were young at the time, and there are very few of us in the ANC who didn't start in the Communist Party. I was one of those who started there. My pseudonym was actually Natasha. Because of the times and what was happening in Africa, we were in fact briefed and told that we should not even identify ourselves as members of the Communist Party at the time because of African nationalism. And that was during the period of the Kompane Nkrumahs of the time. Therefore, it was necessary for us not to come out openly. We worshipped them. That breed of leadership is what is responsible for the struggle for the ANC today. They are the ones who were the backbone of the African National Congress, and that kind of leadership that was selfless. And they were actually mandated to go to Moscow and sell the idea of nationalism from Russia. And if you recall, although you must have been young at the time, that is why Russia was our main supporter. That's why we got our weapons from Russia, and then later on from Peking. We were in fact so indebted to the struggle at the time to the Communist Party that it was one and the same. But because of the history of the organization and the fact that it liberated Africa was of African nationalism, so therefore they are the architects of the African National Congress of today.
The families were saying, Mama Winnie, that today's really signifies a closure for them as a family, and they're hoping that it will heal some of the wounds for South Africans, given that they're back on home soil, and the legacy of these two stalwarts can continue.
Oh, absolutely. I think all of us now will find closure, especially the families, and I think that's why Mamu Rebecca is still alive today, over the age of 100. And I think it's one of the greatest things the government has done to return those bones that belong to us. And it was necessary for them to be brought back home, so that they are our ancestors after all. And then the families will be able to go and pay their respects to their graves.
There are many other unsung heroes, Mama Winnie, some families who still have loved ones, who are buried in exile. What message would you have for them? We spoke to Mr. Gwede Mantashe, who was saying that, families need to exercise patience. All those known and unknown who died in exile will be returned. What message do you have for those families who want to see their loved ones return home?
Well, I really pray God that happens. If not during our lifetime, I hope even the future generations will be able to go and collect the remains of those who could be identified. One of the most hateful aspects of our struggle was the fact that there are parents who can't even identify the graves of our fallen heroes outside. And it is our responsibility to bring them home, to bring closure to all those families. Many did not make it back home, and many don't even know where they perished. Some perished in the Zambezi River, others were shot by the enemy as they crossed the borders into the country. And I think one of the most historical things that should be done is to try and bring all those whose graves can be identified.
Mama, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Well, Mama Madikizela Mandela, they're certainly saying that what remains a tragedy is the fact that many of the other South Africans who fought in exile still need to be returned. Many families still do need closure about what happened to their loved ones and for their loved ones to return home. Let me turn here towards my right as well. I hope we're able to get this shot as well here to see Umama arriving as well here. I will bring you a lot more much later. As you can see, it's quite a chaotic situation here at the moment, as many jostle for shots of many of these struggle heroes who have also come here to show their gratitude for what has been done, that the remains of these two struggle heroes have finally returned home. But I'll hand it over to you in the studio at the moment. We'll certainly bring you much more as the program unfolds.